G'day, I'm Nurchin, and today we're having a close look at the Mothman. So, what is the Mothman? Well, this guy's one of America's icons of cryptozoology, and it all started in 1966. It was the night of November 15th, when two couples were driving past an abandoned munitions plant just outside town in West Virginia, when they drove past a shadowy figure. They described it as a winged man, about 7 foot tall with a 10-foot wingspan. Humanoid, completely white, and with glowing red eyes. Wait, completely white? That doesn't sound like the Mothman I've grown to know and love. Yeah, well, too bad. We can just recast the color later in the Netflix adaptation. It had no head or mouth, and its wings were folded against its body. It supposedly screeched and flew after the car, reaching speeds of 100 miles per hour. They drove straight to the local police station, where one of the officers recognized them, so took their fear seriously. He went to investigate the scene, but found nothing. The next day, a press conference was called, where the witnesses were interviewed. It was during this conference that an editor gave the creature its nickname Mothman, supposedly inspired by Batman. How's that for a bit of etymology for you? It got its name because the editor thought it would be funny. It doesn't even look like a moth. Anyway, the story goes public and suddenly, everyone's seen the Mothman. Stories roll in from all across West Virginia, with the creature more frequently being described as black or dark brown. Ah, there we go. The stories grow more elaborate and frequent, up until the fateful day of December 15th, 1967, with the collapse of the Silver Bridge in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, that resulted in the death of 46 people. The Mothman sightings stopped and people linked the two, claiming he was trying to warn them or a symbol of imminent disaster. Even today, people claim the Mothman is clairvoyant and can predict disasters, with sightings of the creature appearing right before major calamities. Mothman-like creatures have been reported in places like Chernobyl and the World Trade Center, but these sightings are only ever recorded after the incident. Now, the original Mothman sighting was well documented, but a lot of these other witnesses were interviewed 10 years later by author John A. Keel and documented in his book, The Mothman Prophecies. Keel was a strong believer in UFOs, leading to a lot of theories in the book claiming the Mothman to be an alien or having supernatural powers, but it's still regarded as a kind of unofficial guide to the Mothman, even inspiring a movie in 2002 by the same name. This cemented the Mothman in American culture, leading to international recognition and popularity. He's made pop culture appearances in games from all over the globe, including Castlevania, Shin Megami Tensei, and recently Fallout 76. But it begs the question, is it real? Now, keep in mind, I like to approach cryptids with an open mind. It's more about the why than the why not. But the Mothman is probably the least convincing cryptid I've ever seen. And I'm not just talking about the supernatural elements. I understand they're often added later through folklore. It's more about the evidence. So let's have a look at it, why don't we? Let's start with the first sighting. Now, I'm not saying they didn't see something strange, but let's have a look at the conditions that may have caused misinformation. It's nighttime, which means low light conditions and impaired sight. They're driving on a country road, which means the scenery is rapidly moving past them. They said it made a noise, but a car full of people moving very quickly, I'm surprised they could hear anything. This is starting to remind me of a bipedal frogman from a few states over. At first the description seems vague, which makes sense considering the conditions, but then they stuck to it. Like, really specifically. 7 foot tall and 10 foot wings? Sure. But one leader said its eyes were 2 inches wide and 6 inches apart. What's with cryptid sightings getting so crazy specific? And if you argue, will it chase them so he had longer to see it? Yeah, at 100 miles per hour. How much do you reckon that car was bumping around before Captain Eagle Eyes managed to spot it? So we get a very brief eyewitness account late at night. A newspaper publishes it and suddenly everyone in the area claims to have seen it, with no physical evidence. I'm starting to get a bit of deja vu. Probably because this is the exact same synopsis from another cryptid we've already seen, from only a few hours drive from Point Pleasant. It's the Flatwoods Monster. And the Mothman shares other similarities with the Flatwoods Monster, in that they're both probably just birds. Yep, West Virginians don't know what owls are. I'm joking, of course. Probably. Nearly all evidence points towards the Mothman being a large owl or a heron. The large wingspan, the screeching, the eyes that glow brightly when you shine a torch at them? Some people around the time of the Mothman even admitted what they thought was the Mothman was probably just a large bird. In 1967, around the time of the bridge collapse, a hunter shot and killed what he thought to be the Mothman, but turned out to be a snowy owl. This thing had a 5-foot wingspan, and it would explain the white appearance of its first sighting. Classic American cryptid hunting technique: shoot first and check if endangered later. Now, I think the Mothman was just a misidentified bird, but I'm happy to give it benefit of the doubt and ask, what if it was real? The first glaring issue is that by 1966, West Virginia was pretty populated. There are new species being discovered all over the globe even today, but this close to a population and a creature of this size, it doesn't seem very likely. So to combat this, we can have a look at some of the other classic excuses. First, alien. Now I know Keel was pointing to this a lot throughout his book, but without even getting into the possibility of alien contact, this suggests that a hyper-intelligent species capable of interplanetary travel traveled all the way to Earth to scream at a car full of people and then disappear never to be seen again. If that's alien contact, I don't want it. Secondly, some people say mutation, but this doesn't seem likely at all, especially when you're considering flight, even if a creature managed to mutate to this size, even disregarding bone and muscle density. By all known laws of aviation, a Mothman should not be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground. Black and yellow. There are even claims that the Mothman is an angel and has connections to Native American mythology, but all this stuff has incredibly loose ties. And lastly, I'd like to address the supposed precognition of the Silver Bridge disaster. There's as much evidence to support the connection between the two as there is to support the existence of the Mothman in the first place. You know, none. People claim they see strange things all the time, and it's only after the disaster that they start making these connections. One man even claimed that the Mothman was the cause of his TV showing static and the loss of his dog. How? This is considered actual evidence. One guy's TV broke and he lost his dog. Anyway, some people have believed in the clairvoyance of animals for years, such as rats leaving a sinking ship, but it doesn't make any sense for a creature to head towards a disaster unless it has something to gain. I mean, it was a fault in the suspension chain. Why am I still talking about the bridge? Now, you may never want to come across a Mothman, as it's an omen of doom. It's also large, extremely fast, and can possibly tell the future, so he's sure to be a formidable foe. So in case you ever encounter a Mothman, I've designed some weapons to help you defeat it. First is the classic. It's a torch with a knife on it, so it gets attracted to the light and pow! Yeah? Next, I call this one the Americana. What was that? Huh, I must have left this lamp on. Wait, what are you doing in my room? God damn it, Mothman, are you eating all my socks again? Get out! Shoo! Shoo! Bloody cryptids.